Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, you guys.
We were sitting here and I was talking about what they
Continuation for
talking
me.
about influencing and the fact that this term influencer and people who are calling themselves influencers and where did this come from and what an influencer is.
I love you,
An
sweetheart.
influencer is
I love
somebody
you.
that wants to influence you to do something that doesn't necessarily benefit yourself. The very term influencer is actually it's a esoteric term that can also represent people who refer to themselves as familiars. A familiar is somebody that is basically the slave of somebody that they perceive as greater, and is basically using their position to basically ball a block for the person that they're doing it for. So a lot of influencers that I've noticed in this so-called modern social media age, all of these people are usually people that are coming from the mainstream. These are people that are basically all about promoting products that have all types of preservatives, parabens, and whatever. But because
Just chemical.
they're paid by these companies to basically promote them to you as if they don't have these things, or if these things aren't good, then it's an issue. Like, we're striving to get our sisters to get more natural and go more into their own natural beauty. You see what I'm saying? That existed before all of the chemical peels and the chemical wrap and the skin epidersion and the dermaversion and the paraben and all of this bullshit that these people
He's so cute.
are out here telling you sisters to put into your face, when all of that shit is stripping your natural glow, your natural essence. And the only reason why these women that look like you is doing this, one, is because they're being paid.
And they're very influential.
And they'll say anything to you to get you to follow along with them, which is basically on the road to fibroids and all types of shit, because they don't tell you that these chemicals that they putting into all of these things are an abrasion, are actually aversions to our type of phenotypical melanin-induced UV ray thing. So they're gonna always put things in your chemical products to strip you down, to make you feel like that. Whenever they start talking about terms like dark spots and shit, they talking about your whole skin. They talking about your whole body. So when I be seeing these so-called dark-skinned sisters and stuff really trying to advocate for these chemical wraps and pills and shit like that, like, it really, like, I showed her one the other day.
He just, and I don't know if everybody's
with the same
seen
thing. Like it's not cool, man. It's not cool.
And what I love about my husband is that he's been doing so much to help me not focus on things that aren't going to help grow the business. So because I've made a whole line that is non-shea butter, of course, you know, people, why don't you use shea butter? Why don't you so and so? The website really is is there to explain all of that. But I also just started to say, people just are interested in figuring out the journey. Let me tell you, infusion is not mixing products or blending. Blending is blending. It's mixing something together. But infusion is being confused with people that are just blending stuff.
Exactly.
And I don't know, I'm gonna keep it real. I want everybody to succeed. But what I've realized, especially in terms of making products, it's like this is like the new thing that a lot of women are, I guess, feeling they can do in order to become, businesswomen or successful. I didn't just jump into this. I didn't just start making products because, hey, I want to make money and I think that it's a good hustle. No, I really had a lot of injuries, a lot of scar tissue, a lot of stuff that I wanted to transmute, and just keloids, hypertrophic scars. My hair is a definite texture that back in the day, a lot of people wouldn't have even thought that I could grow out my natural hair underneath my locks and not constantly pull and twist and retwist. So my purpose is to really always try to introduce something that hasn't existed, to remind people that herbs really do work, right? But herbs is different than mixing products in a blender and throwing oil on top of it. And I gotta say something, because it's starting to really be like, we all aren't doing the same thing.
No.
We all aren't in the same boat.
We're not.
We all aren't making, I'm always like, look, if you love my products, then support. don't create a whole line that's like a camera too to what you see me doing, because
you don't know what I'm doing.
But that's the worst thing to say, because we live in a time now where if somebody sees something that they think is working for you,
they copy it and bite it, and then try to come out and act like you're not the original person that was doing it. And then they get a bunch of co-signers that also hate on you.
Or magazines.
To do the same thing. All these magazines, all these corporations,
and
all that stuff is cool. All that shit is cool, but in the end, what it does is it gives you a false sense of community, because all of that is based upon the influencer who is being paid to build up this community, and they not sharing that with the other people that's coming in thinking it's just some regular shit.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, all of this is done to baller block people that are actually really doing the real work, that are actually really helping people with the shit.
What I say is it's all right, no problem, honey, is that it's not like Aqua, right? This is an apple cider vinegar shampoo. I didn't blend apples and apple cider vinegar in a blender and then just throw it. No, the reason why I kind of even shared yesterday, like my inspiration kind of came from people that have distilleries and that started making like unique rums. For example, if you drink a banana Kahlua, you're not drinking chunks of banana in your alcohol. It's just got the essence. It's got the flavor and all the energy in it, right? I kind of thought of, how can I do that for products? How can I make products that really have herbs in it? Because what really was starting to frustrate me was realizing people were being dishonest. They lie about what's in their products. They lie about how much is in it. They lie about the ingredients. They lie about the sales and the results. So I just decided, be quiet and let your products speak. But then there's like a fine line. You don't want to be too quiet that you're not constantly connecting with people to share and show, but products really should sell themselves after the results and people see how they're starting to work, right? So yesterday someone asked, like, what do I use for ingrown hairs? I have a product for everything on my site. Not because I wanted to I wanted to expand and prove to myself as well that things that I'd wished to see in the cosmetic industry, that I knew that I could do, it just was gonna take time. So using a hydrosol, using a dehydrator, using different things to extract properties in herbs, figuring out the balance, figuring out how much, like each product has an extreme distinct recipe. But then I laugh because someone, well really Aseer, I'm gonna keep it real, he was like, yo, I gotta put you on to this. So he puts me on to some things, which is great because it keeps me abreast in the world. But I also am like finding a balance, because I didn't want to be affected or, influenced by anybody that was kind of copying. So what I did is I hired a lawyer, and that lawyer, thank you, Daniel, he's been great, because he literally was like, Celina, what's happening to you is wrong. It is wrong for people to steal your intellectual property. It is wrong for people, and because when you don't have money and you're not born with a silver and you're just creating, it's difficult to like micromanage everybody that's may do that. And this is why I hired a lawyer, because he's taken all the work that I would have probably been distracted with and has said to me, like, I don't know where or how this is sought to be cool, but it's not. And I want to help you because these are your ideas, and your ideas shouldn't be. So I'm not going to take responsibility for people using the word alchemy incorrectly or using terms like infusion incorrectly. But infusion is not mixing oils and like herbs and using a blender and then being like, oh, it's infused. No, infusion takes place with heat. It takes place with time. It takes place with a specific machine, in a sense. If you don't have if you don't have certain things, you become inventive. And back in the day, thanks to my Capricorn moon and other things, just living in Brooklyn and being inspired to do something, I was like, I gotta figure out how to create a distillery machine or a machine that extracts herbs. It's a total process. The herbs and the essence of the herbs are in one thing, and then the butters and stuff are in another. How you combine them is the alchemic process. But infusion is not just throwing and mixing herbs together. And I'm sorry, a lot of people now are selling products, and this is what he told me yesterday. He was like, you gotta see this thing that's going viral via Twitter. I'm not in the Twitter world like that because it's very intense, and I want to be able, if anything I do, commit to being consistent and communicating in that portal. So he showed me some stuff, and I looked at it last night. There is a young woman out there blending strawberries, fruit in a blend. Girl, not only can you not do that, but it is so rancid and so wrong and so unhygienic. And you cannot use fruits and mix them with essential oils and herbs and put them in a bottle and it not be fridge specific, or it not be in a vacuum seal. Even if you did that, it's crazy. Like, I wanted to say, well, how could I be of essence and support? How can I support this girl? I really can't, because the girl didn't take no time to develop nothing. She just had an idea. She saw other people using the term infusion, and she said, that's what's hot in the streets. I'm gonna do that too, but I'm gonna use real fruit. Well, you can't, because real fruit has a decomposing, enigmatic, enzymatic essence. And bananas decompose different than apples. Apples that aren't organic or strawberries that aren't organic can't be used on your private parts. If you're gonna do things like that, just do them for yourself. Don't feel like, oh, I found something for myself. Let me make it work for everybody. That was like back in the day with the yoni eggs. Yeah. Every girl doing a yoni push.
Every month
it's
it's like a new thing.
Somebody gotta speak up and say, this is not right. If you feel to throw a yoni egg in your vagina, like 10 to 15 different dicks, then you could go ahead and do that, but it's not to say that that's going to cause any type of healing or any type of pH balance. Sometimes I feel people just do stuff to try to get a kitschy name.
Yeah.
And it's really corny and wrong. And not only are these people selling stuff for exuberant amounts of money, it's like, how dare you put 4 ounces for like $70? My 4 ounces have over 6 different base butters: horsetail, almond, avocado, calendula, jojoba, macadamia. You understand? And I'm charging $25 because that's what I would hope to find something for. 25, 35. Okay, if you get a little bigger, like an 8 ounce, you could do a little 30. But these people are charging so much for nothing. Go on a website, you look under ingredients, and there's no ingredients listed. And it makes me frustrated because it's like there's people out here that are really trying to learn and bring something of value to y'all and not charge $80 for argan oil. And argan oil is not spelled with the O, it's spelled with the A. And infusion is not just blending stuff and throwing things in a blender that's gonna actually really affect people's skin in really harsh ways. And it's something I'm passionate about, because you don't have to have an acumen anymore. I'm gonna check on my son too. You don't have to have an acumen anymore. And it's funny because Amor's like, please leave. When I drop him off at swimming, he doesn't even want me to stay here. He doesn't like us to watch him. But that's ridiculous. So I said to him, what I'm gonna start doing is just taping stuff so you don't feel I'm like invested in looking at you and your every move. But the point is, behind all of this is, beware of what's out there. Yes, I have a doctorate in holistic science, but it's not something that I felt I needed to talk about all the time when making products. Let people see the results. Let people feel the eczema heal. Let them see the psoriasis. Let them see different things start to, heal and become balanced and become refined, and all of like the, hyperpigmentation. Yes, we have different colors in our pigment, but we don't want to erase all that and then cause such problems underneath the surface level of our dermis that we can't reproduce. We can't have good milk production. Like, all of what we wash with and eat and bathe with, it affects us. Same thing, ingrown hairs. I right now have on some little shorts underneath my shirt. I always wear a little shorts or a jean short. I always rub all of my lotions. Every lotion on my line will alleviate darkness and pimples and dark spots. So what specifically takes care of ingrown hairs? Tepes cohuite. I have a whole line just for people with intense ingrown hairs. And the extraction of the herbs that I had to figure out how to make to do that was a process. Again, it's like a distillery. My banana face alchemy and my cherry is not made with fresh cherries in a blender. And I have to make a delineation because now people are just crossing lines and doing things that are totally unhygienic, totally irrational, and totally not good. But you get a couple people to pay $70 and talk about it, then it seems as though it's official and it works. And I don't know who the person is, but I did look at the website just to look at the ingredients, and no ingredients are listed. You cannot mix grapeseed oil with jojoba oil and argan and cucumbers and expect it not to go rank after a couple of hours. Everything has a chemical reaction to one another, and you cannot blend things in a blender like papaya and honey and oatmeal and then just bottle it and think that that's a honey oatmeal papaya. No, boo-boo. It's a process. And if you read, if you did some research, if you looked into how botanicals are made in essential oils, or how essences, flower essences, are really infused in certain tinctures, the reason why they cost a lot is because it takes a while. And the time, I tried to beat all that and say, look, I don't want to charge people for how much time it takes me to make a Rosemary's Baby. I just want to make something that's going to work. So, for example, the spearmint thyme, I don't use too many different things in my hair. I use my products because they work, but I also use them because I don't cheat on the ingredients. There literally is over like 18 different oils and herbs in Rosemary's Baby. And in the spearmint thyme, the reason why I made that is because I took account as to sometimes a lot of natural products, rosemary, peppermint, you'll smell it. It's not like it smells like grapefruit and cotton candy. So I wanted to think of ways to make things really euphoric and inviting through our senses as well. And because the Rosemary's Baby has a little bit more of a medicinal scent, because you really smell the rosemary, I said do a different version that smells like edible candy. Thank you, sweetheart. That smells like candy.
She looks great.
Thus the spearmint thyme. I'm sweating like a shiv over
great.
here, but
Amor just did.
he's incredible.
He just did another 40 laps and he was first every time. So praise Allah.
And I don't really care about
praise
first.
His mother. I do. Praise
I care
Allah.
about him working to his, and I do. I'm not negating what he said, but we care about him working to his potential and not comparing his potential with anybody else.
His potential is to be first. So my thing is to bring that out of him and to make sure that he's never feels or is never put in a position to feel inferior based upon the fact that we're always the only Asiatics in situations like this, which is why we want to do more things to promote of this as a viable lifestyle option for our people, so that way we're not the only ones out here at the swim class where all the Moors is watching all of their kids swim and all of that. Like, there's no reason why we can't have all of this other type of stuff that everybody else got. And it shouldn't have to be a situation where we're always the first. Not me and Celina being the first, but just melanated people always having to break down a barrier, be the first something when we're naturally that. So,
and that's
like
what
I said,
I peep that in life in general, and that's why I'm so thankful for you, because a couple years ago, I was like, I can't look anymore. Literally, I would come out with a product called Face. The next week, there's 3 different companies with
trying to do it. So
Face Fresh. It's ridiculous. Or if I say Rose Clay, Rose Clay this. And it's like, what of mine can I highlight to just, and there you can't do that anymore.
Because we're in the era of the hacks. We're in the era of the people who don't know how to create nothing because they've given up their soul essence, so they can only be influenced to do things. So they can't create new characters, so they got to take old characters and mess them up, so that way they can destroy anything that you remember was actually pristine and dope. Because again, the goal is to dumb down everything to the point that everything is dumb, everything is whack, so nobody can actually stand out and be better. Simone Biles, for instance, they just came out with a whole thing because
you need any products, I got you.
Because they can't categorize her. So what they're saying now is, because the moves that she do is so unique and so prestigious, they can't even rate them. So because they can't rate them, they can't necessarily put her in positions with other gymnasts, because she's always gonna win. So
But she's a woman.
Not
And
only
maybe-
that,
maybe
but
that
listen to
should
what
just
they
wait-
saying. They saying that
totally,
she is so good
that we can't have her be around
that
other
we
people.
can't have anybody compete with her to the point where we can't even rate her. So that then means then that they're disqualifying her. You see what I'm saying?
But this
For
is-
being too good.
This is what they're doing across
This is
the board with
across
sports.
the board with sports, with entertainment, with education,
And-
with everything.
And I'm
Bree.
not saying that I think that people would respect the Black Olympics or whatever, but we are always so invested in how we can be recognized in other people's.
They'll let a
you know,
transgender dude, weightlifter, lift weights in it and compete against females, but actual females can't compete if their testosterone level is too high. This
And
was
this is
crazy
what's
to
going
me.
on in the
So
world.
you can't smoke weed, but you can take hormone injections. So really what they're showing you is that they don't want no melanated people to compete because we're going to win. We're going to blow them
or
out.
we
And
might
because
raise the standard. Yes.
we're going to raise the standard. We're going to blow them out. And because the new narrative is that Asians and everybody else,
They're so handsome.
because Asians and everybody else have to be better than you, and you have to basically be tone yourself down, bring your energy down to let everybody else catch up. We're in a perpetual state of mediocreness. So all I'm saying is support real products that's actually work, that actually have testimonials and that you've seen over the course of time have helped people, man, because
And what it is too is when you're not popular and you don't have a write-up, when you're not in a magazine, people don't think that you're official. Like, it doesn't make sense.
that's
My
actually make you
Instagram
more official
following
now.
and my YouTube
When you
following,
got
it
more
doesn't make
word
sense.
of mouth people hitting you up and you're
But
doing
forget that
consistent
bullshit.
sales and you're doing consistent numbers
He even put me on to something.
and you're doing consistent numbers, consistent sales, and you don't, or you're not in a magazine and doing all of that, consider yourself ahead of the game.
I
That
say I'm
means
really
that
grateful.
you are really busting through to the real world, to the real people that are buying your stuff. You can't trust nothing you see in
And
magazines.
That's not the only thing that you
You
want.
can't, because
Like-
all these people paid. They all paid to say that this product is good when you have never seen anything good come from it.
And I wanted to add on and say, you know, it's not.
I gotta
to,
go get on more.
It's not to
Peace.
say that people. I'm gonna get off too. Can you sit for one more second? Because he's thinking. I peep him. I want him to come over though. I'm trying to figure out ways to get him to not be so shy. Also, to add on to what he said, he's absolutely onto something ridiculous. But everybody can be successful at doing unique things. It's just you have to research a little bit and have an acumen. And if you don't, you know, just know that you're lacking integrity and honesty with everything you're doing. And a lot of people don't think that that means anything anymore. But just as there is the visible world, there's the unseen and the invisible realm. And I could never, if you've heard any of his lectures, anytime he's inspired by somebody or gets a thought or learns something, we give a shout out to that person because it's just appropriate. I'm not gonna not shout someone out that inspired me to do something. It's just ridiculous. But I think that people feel that there's not enough room and that if they share some light or support someone that they might not know, it's somehow negating from their abundance pool. And it's not. We can really be like, wow, that was a great add-on. She made something really cool, but making something and making something is different than like buying a whole bunch of stuff off of Alibaba and then putting your name on it and branding it. It's not to say that things can't be of its importance, but I definitely do give my hat off and tip my hat off to people that produce things from a state of nothing to something. Like literally make something that wasn't made before they put their hands on it. And you don't need, he was talking about the magazine. Of course everyone wants acknowledgement and wants to be acknowledged for what they brought to the table. But after listening and learning about what's happened to T-Pain and what happens to so many artists that sometimes create something a little preemptively or do something that was considered like the first. Sometimes they're not paid attention to or they like to be bypassed. So I don't want to put that energy in my life and act like that's what's going to happen to me because the people have been so good. But I do also want to say that I've not looked or made or tried to make products in order to be the most paid or to knock anyone else off. No, I did it because I found so many people to be dishonest. And instead of being like, they're lying, their stuff isn't good, her ingredients, I just said, make your own. Stop finding fault in other people's shit and make and perfect your own. And doing that 8 years ago, I didn't know that in using terms like crystal infusion alchemy or crystal infusion therapy and, you know, alchemy was gonna cause so much of people to want to do the same. And that's cool, but it's not if you don't do your research and you're actually not making anything. Or if you're making things with the blender and you're mixing something is not an infusion process. I'm sorry, it's just not. Infusion or using herbs and blending them into butters does not work by just throwing herbs on top of your butter and blending them. I'm sorry, if it did, I would have a way bigger line because it wouldn't take time to make everything. You just would throw things in, but that's not the way things work in life. So again, CordobaOrganics.com, look out for people that wanna, I guess, get praised and be appreciated for something, but if you didn't do your research and you're not into this lifestyle, don't make it so unfortunate for people that have dedicated 25 plus years to not only metaphysics, but making metaphysics something tangible and something real. Don't think that I didn't think the astrology line was a little zany, but I said, well, if I can make something metaphysical that I believe in and make it something concrete that people can say, look, I might not believe in astrology, but I believe in that lemon, I believe in that Leo, and I believe in that Scorpio butter. For some reason, it just, or when I get testimony, and it's like, wow, the texture is everything to me. So that's when I know things are starting to work, and you guys see the difference. You know,
Exactly.
You can feel the difference, smell the difference, and see the difference. But to just make a delineation again, none of my banana face, none of my cherry, none of my products that have fruit names on them have actual blended fruit in it. No, that
how
just
we do.
means
We just
that
use the essence.
somebody did not do their research and they didn't understand what distillery or distilling something is, and extraction, and they don't use litmus tests, they don't use litmus sticks, they don't use pH sticks, they don't take their stuff to a lab to learn more, they're not reading about as the difference between essential oils and essential solvents, they're not looking at the difference between a serum and just a blended oil. And it can be frustrating for people like myself that
Actually
will
do
charge
shit.
little to nothing, really, because I want people to just experience it and then, you know, be like, wow, I really feel, because my stuff really has argan oil in it. And if you're spending and investing, you're spending thousands. The most I spend is on my ingredients, because that's what makes my products different feeling, different scent, different smell than everybody else's. And learning how to make my own hydrosol machine before I could afford one.
Word.
Learning how to distill things and extract stuff. It's not something that's just a walk through the park, wham bam, thank you ma'am, oh, I'm just gonna blend. Nah, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Well, I got a degree from this university, and these other people who really have been creating products to destroy my people's skin for all of these years is now telling me and creating stuff just for our skin now. Like, come on, man. Like, let's get over it. Let's stop going to White Zaddy and acting like this dude got the answer. And to everything that deals with anything that's dealing with our physiology. Like, they've been working all of these hundreds of years to break our physiology down. Now these same people,
He filled this up. It got real heavy.
now the same
Sorry,
people
y'all.
is out here now trying to create products and stuff to help save your skin, to help save your insides, to help save your uterus, to help enhance your immune system. Like, come on, man. Like, y'all just believe whatever. Hey, what's up, homie?
This is what my life, let me tell you.
This is us, bro.
The halts, the shampoos, the
And we gotta
everything
go.
was really for him.
Word.
Because not only do I want to not, you know, keep myself busy and inspired, but also, what am I going to leave my son? Who,
Right.
again, I don't
We
want
have
to
to
rely
leave
on
things
these
for our
women.
children. Legacies.
Rely on women who might not be in the best emotional and mental state when he gets older, and also not to force him to make products and do something he doesn't want to do, but create enough that I can have a savings on the side. And I'm thinking, if y'all have ingrown hairs, Get the Jepesco Huite. Try anything out the 7 heavenly sins. I
Peace,
promise not
everybody.
to do more than a half hour, so I'm out. www.cordobaorganics.com. All orders from yesterday and the day before, no, 2 days ago went out. Last night's orders are getting made today and tonight. I already made stuff from like 7 this morning to 2, 3 o'clock, and I'm going back home to make more. And again, I wish it was as easy as a blender and some oil, but it's not. And people that are making $70 off of 4 ounces, it almost makes me want to vomit and go, damn, if all I had to do was lie and be dishonest and not show nothing and just say sold out to make it like I'm selling shit on my website, I'd have been a hustler. But those that don't hustle are gonna take double the time to reach a goal, because we're not here to steal from you. And that must be so hard to trust in today's times, when even myself am watching people that are just lying to like give themselves an acumen. It's ridiculous and it should stop. So let's not support people that don't share their ingredients, that are blending stuff that's going to go rants. Shelf life 20 to 60 days is it's not specific enough. My goodness, it's so unfortunate. But again, everybody's trying to make money, just doing wrong. So let's try to be more right and be more correct, even if it's 1 or 2 products, instead of making 10 that aren't your thought, that aren't your creative idea. Be proud of yourself. Know that you didn't steal something. Know that you're not out here just yanking ideas. And you'll see that life will start to shine in a different way, because you'll go to sleep at night knowing you're not out here selling lies. Word up. Peace out.